Hello everyone, how are you all? Hope you all are doing great. So today I am going to do a summary of a book called Biology of Kundalini by Jenna Dixon. I have choose this book and choose to read this book in order to help so many people understand this process of awakening. That's the reason why I am doing this video. And also I am just reading only some of the few very nice lines and interesting lines written by the author. So I have, when I read this book, I have really liked these lines. So here I am reading this for you because I loved these lines, and these lines, maybe if you also listen to these lines, you might feel motivated, inspired, and get up and continue with this journey of Kundalini awakening. That's the reason why I have choose to read this book for you today. So let's start. Conscious incarnation. So keep in mind that I am not reading from point to point. I am just reading the things which I liked and which I felt will be useful for you, or which I felt that the author really gather the words very nicely to describe Kundalini. So I am only reading those lines for you. So let's start. Conscious incarnation. Without conscious meta adaptation, we tend to grow in fiery spurts that generate burnout and takes years of recovery. By being unskilled at metamorphosis, we spending so much of our energy and effort into coping with physical, emotional, and mental effects of Kundalini that there is little of us left to bring our true creative gifts of spiritual genius into the world. Having full knowledge or insight into this natural metabolic process can save years of fear, regression, secondary fallout, and inertial backstepping. As with life in general, we can choose to be maladapted or pro-adapted to Kundalini. It takes more heart, intelligence, and discipline to be pro-adapted, because often the first impulse to change is to seek comfort, and often the comfort we choose is to numb out through various life negative means. We have free choice, so that even the evolutionary energy of Kundalini itself can dumb us down and zonk us out if we are not aware. Or we can use the metamorphic energy to awaken us progressively into the mystery and deepen our experience of life. It's our choice. By searching within and learning how to be pro adapted under circumstances that have no precedent, we become pioneers, paving the way for the rest of the humanity to flow. Author's story in the book. There is little material out there that people going through awakenings can really use. Having to go through our awakening blind without knowledge or support can create a lot of secondary efforts like resistance, panic, depression, damage to the body via addictions, inertial coping mechanisms. Since Kundalini is transformative fire that burns true and transforms all illusions, blocks, neurosis, bad wiring, PTSD, and damage of various kinds, it is not advisable to try to stop it with heavy foods, but instead learn how to ride the wave with greater skill and assist the energy in its transformative work. However, many of us do try to slow it down by various means, anyways, because that is what we humans do, seek to control. Believe me, you will regret it if you try to back down, because awakening will last about 3 years and you want to make the most amount of progress in that time. Any inertia you place on yourself will cause damage to your organism by overworking organs with clogging foods, drugs, and other devitalizing methods. Initiation. Kundalini is operating in all of us to a degree. Occasionally, however, it sparks up into what is known as Kundalini awakening, transmutation, metamorphosis, transfiguration, spiritual alchemy, or spiritual awakening. In this book, you will see me call this initiation popping. People pop to various degrees. Some fizzle like soda without the cork popping drama of champagnes. Others pop spontaneously at 17 years like Ramana Maharshi without any prior spiritual practice. He just read a book on the lives of the saints and so identified with them that he practically instantly became one. His experience of going into death was his ego recognizing its own demise as the Atman arose within. Gopi Krishna's initiation was through meditation. Philip St. Romian was sparked off through prayer. Meher Baba awakened when he was hit on the head with a stone as a boy. Joseph Kilton Pierce popped in his 60s by Shaktipat from Muktananda. Some spend all their energies preventing themselves from the ego death of popping at all and so never really live. Some of the myriad of the factors that can contribute to an awakening include high altitude, air and water quality, diet, exercise, stress, relationships, degree of being on purpose, and acts of generosity, risk, adventure travel, exposure to elements, novelty, new experiences, environments, and breakdown of habits and torpor. Various elemental changes and shocks to the body, like alternating hot and cold, such as saunas and cold showers, light and dark, determination to adhere to soul rather than social convention, genetics, and both the good and bad conditions of one's upbringing. Other factors include latitude and longitude and Earth's sphere, seasons, sun and moon cycles, chronological and biological age, spiritual practice, having to use a new set of skills, one's calling in the future time stream, that is the muse and eros, and perhaps the needs of human species as a whole. Kundalini arousal and the ongoing development of nervous systems make us more sensitive to the inner and outer worlds. The self-directed force of Kundalini purifies accumulated stress caused by our past habits, samskaras, and traumas. Frictions and difficulty during awakening occur not so much from the process itself but from a conscious and unconscious interference with it. Due to not understanding what is going on, those who have had a childhood of abuse, neglect, of dysfunction tend to have more catastrophic awakenings because their system are built for repression and dissociation. This is not always the case, but it is a pattern. One can imagine that the more loving touch and self validation the child receives, the more efficiently wired their nervous system will be, and the fewer psychosomatic and emotional blocks they will have. But consciousness will out no matter what the formative structure. The nature of one's individual awakening not only depends on one's past history, it is also determined by one's future history. That is, what one is to become, and experience is already at play in one's presence, informing us transtemporally in ways the rational mind cannot perceive. The tree is already inherent in the seed. The future magnetically draws us towards it. One could call this the karma of the future, preparation. The yogic traditions that were developed in response to the evolutionary urge include Raja Yoga, the development of consciousness, Jnana Yoga, the refinement of knowledge, Karma Yoga, the science of right actions, Hatha Yoga, the power over the body, Bhakti Yoga, right spiritual action and devotion. Meditation leads to balancing of neuronal activity of left and right hemispheres, overall brain syncopation, balances the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, and reduces the stress hormones cortisol and adrenaline to provide a deeper rest, relaxation, and recovery period. The inhibiting neurotransmitters GABA increases in the blood during meditation. Regular meditation will permanently reduce the baseline activity of hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Is Kundalini a divine or a god energy? Basically, it is love. That is the easiest way to describe it. What Joseph Clinton Pierce calls the intelligence of the heart, and Teilhard D. Chardin sees as the next revolution in harnessing the forces of the universe. It is the intelligence within the atom, cell, organ, brain, organism lit up, integrated and resonate with love energy. It has the bliss component that anesthetize former structures so the larger order can transform the being. It is what we mythic humans have tended to call God and all various names of God. You could say that it is the butterfly self emerging from the cocoon of conditioned self, a socialized being, into a universal being, born unto himself. This miraculous force is truly the most phenomenal process. It takes an enormous amount of energy to receive a higher self. It is the nature that calls us towards awakening. It is the nature that initiates us. It is the nature that eases the burden of awakening. It is in nature that allows our awakening to be successful. And it is in nature that gives us the power to extend our awakening out into the world. It takes an enormous amount of oxygen to birth ourselves. So exercise and breathe in nature every day. The more you do so, the more nature will be your ally. We want nature to work for us, not against us. Thus, we must comply with nature's dictates. Symptoms list. The spontaneous symptoms of Kundalini awakening can be arranged into various practices of yoga. Yoga practice or sadhana is essentially the speeding up of the flow of consciousness. Kriya Yoga. Muscle twitching, cramps or spasms, shaking, trembling, limpness, rich contractions, facial contortions, itching, vibration, pricking, tingling, effervescent bubbles of bliss, tingling, throbbing in left foot and leg is one of the main signs that Kundalini is active. Hot or cold changes in body temperature, shooting currents of energy or heat, zigzag or double helix of energy up the spine, prana flow in the central nervous system, pulsating sensations in the sacrum, involuntary laughing or crying, deep sigh, abdomen may flatten towards the spine, contractions of visceral organs, the anus contracts and is drawn up, bandhas, purging or constipation, bad digestion, chin may press down against the neck-lock posture, eyeballs roll upwards or rotate, eyelids may not open despite effort to open them, left eyelid frickles, then towards the end of the awakening, the right eye may flicker. Tongue rises to the floor of the mouth or stretches back, repetitive pooping sensation in the sinus above the palate. Body may twist in all directions, body may bend forward or back or roll around on a floor. Spontaneous asanas and mudras, breathing constructions, heaviness or contraction of diaphragm, unusual breathing patterns, tendency to belly breaths, emphatic out breaths, racing heart, expansion, pains in the heart, feelings of alleviation or intensified gravity, radical grounding and associated lethargy, chronic fatigue, body sense might expand to feel huge or small, strange aches and head pressures, headaches, clenching jaw, yawning, excessive sleep, inability to sleep during hyperactivity, need to constantly walk or exercise, dry throat, great thirst, feeling headlessness, mindless, giddy, heaviness of the head like one is wearing a helmet, build-up of pressure at the head, neck, spine, thorax and eyes, paralysis during samadhi or hypnagogic states, numbness and pain in the limbs, especially the left foot and leg. Numbness on the left scalp and down into the left face, with drooping of the left eyelid, years of pain in the throat, thyroid, or in the left foot or shin prior to the awakening, loss of strength in the arms during rapture and heart expansion, psychokinetic interference with electrical equipment, smell of roses or peaches emanating from the skin. Laya Yoga. Inner visions and lights, flames, geometric shapes, visions of deities or saints, dream scenes, inner sounds, celestial music, bird sounds, animal sounds, buzzing or humming in the ears, inner voices, spontaneous mantras, speaking in tongues or foreign language, smell of perfume arises, transcendental visions, everything illuminated, scintillating, vibrating dreams and visions in transcendental vision, atom bomb dreams, temporary loss of sight. Bhakti Yoga. Love with no object arises, devotion, sublime gratitude, uncommon compassion and understanding, tolerance and patience for what is. Enormous faith accompanies the bliss, transcendence of reactive patterns, social conditioning, egoic habits, intense sexual arousal without provocation, intensified sexual and sensorial pressure, feeling of gaseous bubbles arising from the reproductive organs, champagne's pelvis, feeling of radiating ambrosial bliss and aura of nectar, heat, sweat, strange activity and bliss in different areas of the head at different times, sensations of blissful honey moving through brain, spine and connecting the heart to other parts of the body, traveling bliss or pervasive bliss, rapture, spontaneous sexual ecstasy with no stimulation, increased ESP, precognitive dreams, telepathy, biolocation of loud one through heart's navigation, alchemical preparation for future unknown events, that is, translocal, trans-time development, linear time transcendent, feeling of entire life reaching a next point in time, heightened senses, hypersensitivity, field of self widens, peripheral awareness increases, exquisite awareness of one's environment and others, ability to affect energetic states and promote heart expansion in others and via sympathetic resonance. Jnana Yoga. Deep questions and answers arise, spontaneous mystic poetry that writes itself, important insights, eurekas, scientific and creative solutions. The herald of muse appearing has a sound or voice in the upper right brain field prior to the emergence of information. Increased creative and expression, intensified understanding, finer focus on the most important thing, compulsive need to write, heart expansions occur along with intense love, bliss, and weakness in the arms. The heart expansion and grounding are also associated with fatigue because the heart's field becomes so huge, seems like it pulls one into the ground. This grounding is actually caused by temporary parasympathetic dominance and can be so severe that it is really difficult to put one foot in front of the other in order to walk. This fatigue is dealt with thorough grounding the entire spine by lying on one's back on the grass, also by walking on the grass, repolarizing around running water and in nature, eating greens and avoiding stimulants. Whatever aids grounding and repolarization will reduce the fatigue. At this time, one is intuitively called to spend as much time as possible outside under open sky and in nature because the electromagnetics of this event need to occur in communion with the planetary field and nature's energy fields. Being inside buildings at this time, you will feel cut off for your true nature. The heart's expansions will demand that you be outside. The metamorph proceeds when we are connected to Earth's energy and the sun. You could say that we lose our soul in buildings. After the body has grounded, the heart now freed soars out of body has the painful breaking through the chest. To relieve the pain of expansion, one needs to thump the thymus gland on the sternum like an ape, and this reveals the pressure. This relieves the pressure. The thymus gland under the sternum wakes up significantly. This could be a part of huge expansion and energetics of the chest that is felt during awakening. I have yet to scientifically verify this, but I'm sure that the thymus is training white blood cells in their transmutational function. Continuous breathing, a type of regenerating breath that is good for energy integration during panic attacks, ecstasy, and heart expansion, is fish breathing. The mouth is completely relaxed and open like a fish. You breathe gently at a medium pace in and out of the mouth without a pause between in and out breath. This is especially effective while walking. This continuous non-pause breathing can be done through the nose also when needing more focus and brain power during peak Kundalini activity. Make the in breath nasally and out breath throaty.